Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 of distance learning. This is going to be your English language arts lesson this week. It's going to look a little different from the last 2 lessons because I'm not going to read from the Journeys textbook. I'm going to read a picture book. It is one of my most favorite picture books. I can't wait to read it. I know I say that about every single book I read, but this is truly one of my most favorite books. The skill that we're going to be learning this week or practicing this week is the skill of finding the theme in a story. The theme is the message that the author wants you to learn or to take away after reading the story. Something that I saw several years ago really made an impact on me, and I use this every year when I'm teaching theme and when I'm reviewing theme. And I'm going to show it to you right now. If you look at the word theme and you look at the phrase the message, we can actually box in part of the phrase the message and we see the word theme, T-H-E-M-E. And I thought that was super cool. It made me always remember that theme means the message. I have some papers that I'm going to show you. I tried to do this with way more technology and failed miserably multiple times, so it's just going to be anti-technology today. If you were all with me, you would have fixed it and taught me how to use it probably in 2 minutes flat. The first paper that I'm going to show you is just kind of a quick review of what it means to find the theme, and I have all of these on the slides next to the video that you can look at much better and much clearer by clicking on the images. So I'm going to go ahead and read this to you. It says a theme is a lesson or real-world connection that a reader gets from reading a story. It is usually not stated by the author and it must be inferred. So if you remember in week 1, we really talked a lot about inferring, where you're taking what you know about the world with what you see, read, or observe, and you put them together and you make an inference. When you're finding theme, you need to infer. The author is not going to give you the lesson that he or she intended. It's based on what message you take away. And the message you take away might be a different message than somebody else. A lot of it is kind of what's going on in your life. If you're struggling with something in your life, you might interpret the theme as a certain way that somebody else doesn't interpret it because they're not struggling with that. If you are trying to overcome a difficulty, you might read a story and say, wow, this character is trying to overcome a difficulty as well. And somebody else might read the exact same story and they see a totally different message based on what they're dealing with in their lives. Some common themes, I'm going to read several of them to you over the next couple of pages that you've all probably read, saw, or experienced in your life. Be prepared, actions speak louder than words, money doesn't buy happiness, practice and persistence pays off, don't wait until the last minute, don't be jealous of others, and cheating does not pay off in the end. So you can see these much closer and much better on the slides when you click on this image. Another picture that you'll see when you click on the slides is theme is and theme is not. Theme is a life lesson. It's something that the reader can connect to, as I previously mentioned. It is not the main idea or the summary of the story, and it is not specific to the story. So while you can find the theme in a story and it's related to that story, that theme can apply to anything in life, anything. So the story that I'm going to read to you, I came up with a couple themes for that story, and I know that that can apply to anything in life, not just the story I read to you. There's some graphic organizers that I have on your slide as well. The third one is the one that I like the best, but I'm going to show you all 3 of them, and I'll be using the third one. So you could use a graphic organizer that looks like this, where you can write your theme here, And then when we talk about support from the text, we're talking about evidence, just parts of the text that also prove what your theme is. Another one is just to help you understand that there is a difference between theme and a summary. So this would be theme, and then down here, being able to just understand the difference between theme and a summary. So theme is the message that the author is trying to get to you, and then the difference would be the summary would be somebody retelling the book, what happened in the book. And that's not a message, it's just saying what already happened. This is my most favorite graphic organizer, and this is the one that I'm going to use. It's what is the theme of your story, and then what does the text say to support the theme. And this is where I might say in the text it states, or the author says, or on page 2 this person says, and that would be your evidence. There are lots and lots of themes in fiction. You can come up with your own. You can use themes that you've heard in life. I have a couple examples that you'll be able to find on your slides of themes. I'm going to read them to you, and then I'll show it to you, and then you can look at it on your slides when you want to click on it. So some common themes are growth can come from failure. So if you do poorly on something, you learn from it. Appreciate what you have. I've learned that a lot these last couple of weeks, appreciating the home I have, the food I have, the time spent with family. Stand up for what you believe in. Help others in their time of need. I think a lot of people are experiencing that right now. Friendship can come in forms you do not expect. We discussed earlier in the year the theme differences can bring us together, where you and another person might be very different, but you realize that that difference is what makes you connect. Don't judge the actions of other people. Find your talent and share it with others. Selfishness can lead to negative consequences. Families face adversity together. More can be accomplished when people work together. That is a definite truth. Always try your best. Be true to yourself and value your family and friends. You'll see this on the slides. You'll see it much better and much clearer. I have one more list of themes that are common, certainly not anything that you have to use. Respect others' opinions even if you don't agree. Challenges can be overcome with hard work and patience. True friends stand by you when life is difficult. Keep an open mind about others. First impressions can be deceiving. Adjusting to change takes time. Treat others with kindness and respect. Accept the differences of those around you. Accepting responsibility for your actions is a mark of maturity. Mistakes are okay as long as you learn from them. And perseverance is key when facing life's challenges. You'll see these on the slides as well. Definitely bigger and definitely more clear. Going with theme in a story, you often learn that characters change through the story. And we often see that the theme is a change in the character. I did attach this to the slides with a common theme. It's kind of piggybacks on theme, so you can come up with a theme, and then you can see where that theme takes you with a character. And if this looks familiar too, it's kind of like a little roller coaster with a beginning, middle, and end. And it's how characters change throughout a story. And I'll probably show this to you in the next couple of weeks as well. But the beginning of a story, you often learn about the character's strengths and weaknesses. In the middle of the story, there are events that happen that causes the character to think about life a little bit differently. And usually by the end, the character has shown change. Usually they've grown in one way or another. I think about the story Old Yeller we read at the beginning of this school year. In the beginning, Travis was annoyed with his dog. He was annoyed with his brother. He was annoyed with the hard work. And during the events of trying to keep his brother safe from the bear and realizing that the dog's intention was to keep his brother safe from the bear, Travis had an opinion that changed, and after, by the end of the story, he couldn't do enough for that dog, and he couldn't say how much he loved his brother. So there was a huge roller coaster of change in the story Old Yeller, and you could come up with lots of themes based on that as well. The story that I'm going to read to you, as I said, is one of my most favorites. It's called Giraffes Can't Dance, and I found this on recording of it on YouTube. I love to read stories to you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. If you don't want to listen to me, you could certainly go to YouTube with Mom and Dad's permission and listen to the story there as well. It's not as exciting as my reading. So this is Giraffes Can't Dance. If you've heard it before, hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's easiest for me to turn and read and then to show you the pictures. So if you'll just be patient with me. And then we're going to pause it and come up with a theme and discuss that. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully bandy and his legs were rather thin. So I'll show you the pictures. You could either pause the story and look at the pictures better, or you could find an online version and look at it. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango which was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked towards the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald!" the animals all laughed. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool! Oh, Gerald, don't be daft!" Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and all alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on, "but sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song." Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that that lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his arms out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. I am dancing, yes, I'm dancing, I am dancing, Gerald cried. Then one by one each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, it's a miracle, we must be in a dream. Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen. How is it you can dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how. But Gerald simply twizzled round and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find music that we love. So I want you to pause the video right now and I want you to think of a theme that you could assign to this book. Something that you think the author wanted to help you to learn, a message the author wanted to help you take away with. So go ahead and pause the video, think about it, and then hit play again. So hopefully you came up with a theme, or maybe more than one theme. I'm going to use a graphic organizer to show you two themes that I came up with. I think I probably could have come up with more, but I thought two would be enough for you guys. One theme that I came up with is do what makes you happy. I'm a big believer of this as long as it's safe. And the support you probably can't read too closely, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it. It says, in the text, it says, Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. I am dancing, yes, I'm dancing, I am dancing, Gerald cried. So this would be a graphic organizer that I would use to prove my theme. I would come up with what I think the message the author wanted me to walk away with, and proof of that. And so if you look at this and you think of the theme as do what makes you happy, this could apply to so much in life. So obviously it applies to the story Giraffes Can't Dance, but I also think about my life. One of the things that makes me happy is planting flowers and weeding the garden and just walking around and looking at all my landscaping. That makes me happy. It does not make my family happy. They do not enjoy that, but it makes me happy. So most days in the summer, you'll find me outside playing with my flowers, weeding the garden, walking through nurseries and looking at flowers that I'm not going to buy because I don't want to spend all that money. But it's what makes me happy, so I do that. Another thing that makes me happy is reading. I spend a lot of time reading just to make myself happy and enjoy life. So none of those are the same as Giraffes Can't Dance, but they can apply to lots of things in life. Another theme that I thought was a good message the author would want you to walk away with is probably something you have said a lot. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. And this was, the last page was a wonderful example or proof. On the last page, Gerald says, we can all dance when we find music that we love. And it does not just have to apply to dancing. This would be kind of an example of when you find something that you love, you can do it. So maybe sports aren't your thing, but you have found a way to be active and really enjoy being active. And it's not playing a basketball game or a football game, but maybe you enjoy running. And that is your music, is being able to run. And you can do it because you put your mind to it. So these are messages that can apply to the story, but they can apply to your life as well. Hopefully, when you are reading other stories, just for enjoyment or for part of your distance learning, hopefully you can make yourself think of a theme, think of a lesson that maybe the author wanted you to walk away with, and just simply practice. So speaking of practice, the next slide has a couple practices for you. I don't have you doing really any written work this week. It's more thinking out loud or thinking in your head. One slide has some short passages, and then there is a section where you can write the theme. I told you could write it on a separate piece of paper, or you could say it out loud if you wanted to. And there's 5 or 6 passages where you could practice coming up with a theme. And the next slide is more fun. As long as you view it in present mode, you can read a short passage, come up with a theme, and then if you click the button, a theme will appear out of nowhere. It's very magic. And you can see if your theme is similar. Your theme is never going to be wrong, but you could see, oh, did I have a similar theme as the one on the slide? And that would definitely give you some practice in finding theme. I hope you enjoyed this story. I hope you get the opportunity to practice finding theme in other books that you read. I am going to read from our Journeys textbook, but it's going to be more for the social studies slide, so stay tuned. Have a good day, everyone.